Once upon a time, there lived two brothers whose names were Obonodi and Ejikeme. Bonodi was 15, while Ejikeme was just 12 years old. They were from a poor family, and they had lost their parents many years ago when they were little. They thus lived alone in the mud house their parents had built when they were alive. They were able to feed by tilling the ground and eating from the little proceeds obtained from it. They could barely clothe themselves, and even their family members were of no help to them. No one ever came to help them. The suffering was much, and most times, before what they planted will mature enough for harvesting to be used as food, they will be starving and eating just once a day. Obonodi pitied his younger one because he was older and he could bear hunger more than his brother. So at times he would eat and keep a little for him while he starved. All these he continued to feel as the day passed by. And he was always sad because of that. One day, while the two boys were at home discussing about their hard condition of living, Ejikeme said, I wish we can have enough money to buy all we need to eat and survive, brother. I would have been very happy with my creator. Obonodi laughed. Ha 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 ha. Unfortunately, my brother, is not so. But there is nothing our creator cannot do for his children. You are right, big brother, Obonodi, said Ejikeme. There's nothing our creator cannot do. I believe if we think with our heads very well, we can come up with something that will fetch us enough money to survive and get by, Obonodi said. They sat in silence for a while, thinking, and then Ejikeme said, Brother Obonodi, we have a lot of firewood in the forest close to our farm. Why don't we cut them and sell them to raise money to feed and start a small business? Replied Obonodi. It's a good idea, but people will laugh at us because no one in this village does that, especially our being males. My brother Obonodi put in Ejikeme, who always reasoned very fast. In this life, he said, in this life we are today, as long as we are doing the right thing and not stealing from others, we shouldn't look or listen to what they say. Look at the way things are with us. Have they ever come to assist us or give us food? Brother, let's give it a try, Ejikeme said. You are right, Ejikeme, replied Obonodi. Let's think about it some more and know what to do. No need, big brother. No need to think about it, said Ejikeme. Let's proceed with it. It's our creator that has brought the idea to me now. Or do you think that our creator will come in person like a spirit to tell us? It's the one that put it in my head, the idea. What if people don't buy the firewood? We'll both become laughing stocks in the village, Obonodi said. Brother, don't look at that. We'll take it to the major road where many people always pass from different villages. We'll take it to that major road, and by that special grace, people will buy it, Ejikeme said convincingly. Okay, let's give it a try, Obonodi replied, smiling at his younger brother. The next morning, as early as 6 o'clock, the two siblings left for the forest to try what they had both planned the previous day. They cut a lot of dry firewood and took them to the major road in the village where people from other villages used to pass. They kept praying for the creator to come and help them sell the woods in whatever form he would assume to come. They kept praying and praying and praying. The following day, buyers started to come, and all the piled firewood They were all bought off. Hmm. They were even demanding for more. People from various villages, they had never seen people buy wood like that to sell. And they needed the firewood, so they kept on coming. For the first time, the two brothers were able to find themselves counting a large sum of money. Obonodi and Ejikeme were dancing, and they could not believe their eyes and good luck. Obonodi thanked his younger brother for bringing up the idea of them selling firewood in the first place, and the strong bond that existed between the two of them deepened. They were able to feed well and live well. And as time went on, Obonodi called his younger brother and told him that it was time they rebuilt their parents' house from the mud house to a brick and modern one, so that it would be good and comfortable enough for them to stay. But Ejikeme, who always reasoning fast with his brain, said, "You are not wrong, big brother, but I don't think that's a good idea for now." He said, "Let us start a good business first with the money we have gathered. Let's start a business that's not as strenuous as going to the forest to cut firewood. So that when we start this business, whatever we realize from it, we'll use it to rebuild our parents' home." "You are right, Ejikeme," agreed Obonodi. "You always have good ideas in that your head. What would I have done without you?" His brother Obonodi said. "Ha ha ha ha," laughed Ejikeme, hugging the only brother he had in the world tightly in tears as he remembered their parents. Sometimes the boys would cry and cuddle in each other's arms whenever they miss their parents. Life is not always easy. The business they started grew to become a very big clothing manufacturing business. The two brothers agreed that as the business progressed, they will open a second one for the younger one, Ejikeme, to manage so that he could handle his own family with it. So, as the years progressed, Obonodi was now 28 years old, while Ejikeme was 25. So Obonodi told Ejikeme one day that it was time for them to look for nice girls and marry, because they were getting on in age and they needed to reproduce children that would continue their lineage. So they both agreed, and each of them chose girls and got married. But they still lived in their parents' home, in the big mansion that they had now successfully renovated. So the following year after their marriage, Ejikeme called his elder brother and said it was time he started his own business as they had planned. And his brother agreed that actually, since he was now married and would start having his own family, they should share and make him start his own business. The next week, they agreed they would do that. So while they were both discussing, Obonodi's wife, Mira, overheard them talking and was not happy about what she heard at all. "Not in this house will that happen," she vowed in anger and walked away. From that moment, she started bestowing a kind of attention and affection that she had never shown before on her husband, Obonodi. Obonodi was carried away by the sweetness of it all, and 2 nights before the scheduled day with his brother, Mira went to him and made him swear and take an oath that he would love her forever and always abide by whatever she told him to do in life, that she, her words, must always confess. "You are the mother I never had today, so I will always love you and worship you, my love," Obonodi said after much over affection shown to him by Mira, his wife. He agreed and swore to the oath. Mira was now satisfied and waited patiently for the day of the meeting between the two brothers. The day arrived, and the two brothers were sitting down, drafting and redrafting the plans they had on hand on how to hand over a part of the large business to Ejikeme, while Obonodi would take the other. They were thus busy when Mira walked into the room and came to stand close to her husband. "What are you doing with your younger brother, my love?" she asked her husband, smiling and glancing at the paper they had just finished drafting and were about to sign to seal the deal. She collected the paper, looked at it, and tore it into shreds. "Never, I say never will I allow this to happen," she said angrily as she tore the paper into shreds. "What about my children? What will they inherit? Go and struggle to start your own business, Ejikeme," she said icily. Her husband could not believe. He could not comprehend it. He could not understand what she was trying to say. And so he tried to talk to her. But Mira would not listen. Obonodi tried to tell her that they had both suffered and made it this far together. But she refused to acknowledge any word from him. "Get out of this place, you usurper," she shouted at Ejikeme. A married man for that matter. Ejikeme could not believe his eyes. He stared at her in disbelief. "Yes, you are staring at me. You heard me right. Out," she shouted. "And listen carefully. Before 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, I want you and that useless girl you call a wife to get out of this house." "But, Mira, my parents' home?" asked Ejike, standing up, unable to bear it any longer. "Of course," exclaimed Mira. "My husband is the first son and the heir, so the house is his. I don't want to see you here." "Stop all this nonsense," Mira shouted Obonodi, who had been watching his wife's bad behavior in surprise and disbelief. "So, some women can be this pretentious?" he thought in astonishment. "Stop this nonsense," he continued. "Ejikeme is my blood brother. He owns this house as well, and we've both suffered to get this far. You can't come in between us." Mira stood still. "Remember the oath you took?" he asked. She asked her husband in a deadly frozen tone, looking at him deep into his eyes. "From now on, not a single farthing goes to your brother. Nothing. And he leaves this house now. Otherwise, the oath you took will catch up with you." A feeling of dread ran down Obonodi's spine. "Oh, so you tricked me into taking an oath because you want to do this?" he asked, tears running down his cheeks. "You can never trust some women. I used to hear, but today to have it happen in this house, in my family, is beyond imagination. It's hard for me to comprehend," he said, his voice choked with emotions. Ejikeme, on hearing his brother's words with his wife, knew that such words were words of danger, and instantly he knew it was far beyond something ordinary. Quickly, he left the room. He would not want the only blood and flesh of his die from the oath he had been tricked into taking because of him. He took his wife, Omobi, and without any single money in his hand, went to look for somewhere to stay. At last, he decided to go to his grandparents' house, a dilapidated house that belonged to their grandparents. They had left it and they had not done it. They were planning to do it. So they went there to live. And while they were there, they had 2 children. Ejikeme went back to firewood cutting and selling while his brother and wife lived in absolute luxury. This time he made much money than before because now he had the experience and people were demanding for firewood much more than before. Gradually, Ejikeme, with the wisdom he had always possessed from childhood, was able to gather resources and travel out of the country with his wife and children. He had been unable to stay in the village safe without being able to see and communicate with his only brother, and decided to leave the village. He traveled to the white man's land. 5 years later, Ejikeme and his family came back home to establish a big company of their own and was shocked to see that the family business his brother had been running had closed down, and his brother and his wife were now living in poverty from hand to mouth. Ejikeme was shocked when he found this out. He was told Obonodi's wife had taken control of the business and squandered all the proceeds on her family and exquisite lifestyle. When Obonodi heard his younger brother was back from the white man's land, he went to see him. Filled with so much emotion and tears running down their cheeks, the two brothers embraced. Bonodi apologized to his younger brother and explained all that had happened. He was surprised his brother had returned home to establish a company, now very wealthy. Mira, on hearing that Ejikeme had returned with more wealth than before, she rushed down to apologize to Ejikeme and his wife. Ejikeme bought back their old business and handed it back to his brother after much advice. He established his own company much bigger than his brother's own. He was able to forgive his elder brother and wife, but he never allowed Mira, his brother's wife, to come close to his family because he did not trust her anymore, and she could become more dangerous than before. No condition is permanent, and never shit on the heads of those you helped. Those who helped you to stand, those who helped you to climb the ladder of success, never shit on their heads so that when you come cascading down, you have people to still hold you and help you to stand once again. That is the end of the story. Please don't forget to like the videos, subscribe and share them. Thank you very much.